What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the single-player Let's Play series. So, in between episodes, I really haven't done anything, but I did make some empty bottles and ran to the end real quick to see what the bottled darkness was going to do for us as far as Nature's Aura goes. And it actually unlocks a lot of stuff. So you can see there's now all these things: shifting sundial, lamp of sanctuary. There is the Aura Attraction card that we can now have access to, and the Ender Ocular. And it's a handheld version of the Ender Grade. After giving it an Ender name the exact same way, interacting with it while holding it in one's hand will open the storage then and there. Aura cache is required. Some aura will be drained from. Okay, so I was just mostly looking around because there's a couple of things that aren't really that bad to make. Okay, so remember how a couple of episodes ago we made that farm? Well, turns out it's because we need to make this powder of fertility, something that we did not have previously. Now, this is going to require an ingot of the skies, which we can make gold powder, which is obviously fine, and eggs. Jungle saplings might actually be the catch here, and it seems as though they are. So we're going to have to go find a jungle, and in fact, there may be one in my map somewhere, although I don't really know how they're represented. But I think this area, safe to say, is a jungle. So I'm going to go look around, see what I can find, and report back once I maybe do or don't. So we need a ingot of the skies. Ingot of the sky is, okay, so that is, wait, spirit of calling, which we have a few of, and we'll just need some ingots. So, shouldn't be that bad. And then we needed, what was it, egg? And 2 gold dust, gold powder. Yeah, great. Super simple. And there we go. So the way the powder of fertility works is, if we look in here for powder fertility, powder fertility nearby will start to affect animals in the area. So I think what we just need is like a couple of blocks inside of these that we dedicate for the powder. So like maybe there. I didn't want to use all of it, so I don't really know what's going on there. Seems as though they're breeding, which is kind of what we wanted, but I didn't want to place 8 all at once. I definitely wanted to put like a few here, a few there. That's unfortunate. I mean, this is working, which is nice. This is what we wanted, but that's not working the way I wanted it to. Alright, let's try this again, but this time with just 1. And this time I want to put it over here. See, so this is working just fine with just the 1. That's why I wanted just the 1. Kind of frustrating. But fortunately, we're getting that effect that we've been wanting this whole time. I guess I really just need to read into it a little bit more. So that's pretty cool. So let's see. I had a couple of other little things on my to-do list. One of the things I'm trying to do is clean up this chest up here. This one. It has a lot of stuff in it that I just kind of don't need anymore, but I've kept it around for absolutely no good reason. So I need to just kind of start moving stuff around and cleaning up. I just have been slowly working on that a little bit. Interocular doesn't look hard at all, so let's look at that. And we can go ahead and craft that. So you can also tell that I got around to cleaning up my inventory as well. So we read that it said, after giving it an Ender name. I don't exactly know how to do that. With an Ender eye and then writing down the desired name. Okay, that makes sense. Fortunately, I had an extra Ender eye, so this will be super easy. So then it's this, and then we can name it. There we go. So we're just gonna name this, we'll call this equipment. So now, that's that. So it's just a little Ender storage sort of thing. And the upside is I can put this in here, which This means I can put this in here and this in here, and that's kind of my goal, is to take all this stuff that is necessary, all the little tool things that I need, and put them in certain places, because we have the upside with Quark of saying, okay, like if I put this in here, then when I hover over it, you'll see the item before I have to go and place down the entire thing. So I'm going to make a couple of shulker boxes. So there are a couple of odds and ends here that I would like to keep with me regularly. I just don't want to waste the room on it. So it would be nice to just kind of have a single place where I can keep a couple of little odds and ends. Oh, I forgot a capacitor. Joy. So like soul vials, for example. What else am I thinking of? A compass would probably be a good idea. The drawer key, definitely. So stuff like this, I'd like to keep with my person pretty much all the time, just because it is relatively useful stuff. And we can arrange it relatively nicely. That way we're not dealing with a crummy inventory. So that leaves us with a few things that we need to sort out. So I accidentally left the game running overnight in real life, which was actually rather convenient, because I let that kind of accidentally let this run. As you can see, I think preventing overpopulation is actually a bit of a lie, because there were a lot of cows outside of here. I've since reduced the count of cows, but like, listen to this. Compared to this, where I placed just one, which is still pretty overcrowded. That's ridiculous. So, I'm gonna start butchering some cows, I guess. But this is what I wanted, don't get me wrong. But, I just not like this. Okay, so that took a little while, as you saw. And I also now have an inventory full of cow products, which is super nice. But that also means that if I already had cow products, I need to take them out, because they're going to now get their own storage dedicated to it, because we just have a ridiculous amount. There we go. And that's going to increase our storage size, so that as we continue to fill this up, probably immensely, we will be able to handle that extra storage. So, that's that. I mean, we have like an insane amount of like 1,000 leather, 700 raw beef. So now that we've gotten the cow situation handled, of course we now have a bunch of sheep as well, which is very nice. A little more reasonable amount of sheep, but still quite a few. Alright, so we also have a cow trophy now. That's nice. Not exactly surprising, because we do have looting 4. But that gives us a lot of wool as well, which is super nice. So yeah, what I want to do now is look into getting the next tier, and maybe all tiers, of tools for the flux bore and flux saw. So these are going to require a few materials that we've only barely made, if at all. I actually don't remember. Oh, that actually, I forgot. We can also right-click on those to get free wither skeleton skulls. So, if we take a look at flux bore, we will see that there are 2 more tiers left. And then if we do the same thing for flux saw, you'll see the same thing. Now, the reason I want to look into these is because it's just kind of like the next evolution. It sort of makes sense. But we're going to need some things that I don't really know that we have a lot of, or any. I don't know if we've ever made signalum in this pack. We may have. I don't remember off the top of my head. And this might actually give us enough to start upgrading our machines to this tier as well. Signalum is a pretty big step in the upgrading tier. You see, every part of signalum uses pretty much each one of the unique dust formats. There are a few different dusts that have been in thermal expansion for a while. So we can start with crafting now. We can take it, you see it's going to transfer over our enchantments, but just increase a lot of things. Like, you see we go from 6 to 6.5 attack damage, the efficiency of the tool breaking, like it actually will break quicker, and it's going to store more energy. And it increases the range by which you can break blocks. So you remember we had 3x3, now we have 3x3x3. So we can go through and break an entire cube squared, or a 3x3 cube squared, of blocks versus just a single block. We'll try it out down here. And you should see, boom. So, and again, it's just one of those, it just kind of makes sense to go for it kind of things. So for the next tier, we're going to need a lot of Enderium, which is going to be a little bit tricky. We're going to swap this out for Illumium real quick because we just need a few, and then we can go and craft that while the rest of this finishes up. So that's going to get us the Resonant Flux Bore and the Resonant Flux Saw. So the biggest difference here again is mining speed, and then finally is you have a much larger maximum. You have 1x2, 3x3, 3x3x3, and 5x5. And the 5x5 is centered on, I think, just the 5x5 itself, not your viewpoint. Alright, so that gives us 4 of those. And then for these, we're going to need Pyrotheum Dust. Oh, that's like the easiest one of them all. Blaze, we're just going to grab a few of these to make sure that we have enough. And then that should be all we need. There we go. So that's done. That's actually really nice. We're going to have a lot of speed now. And so I don't really care about these so much because they're meant for like bulk processing, but these will be nice because we come over here and use these all the time. Plus, at some point, we may also start auto-crafting with these instead of coming over here and using them, or both. So it's just something to consider is that we actually do have a lot of purpose for these. There is one thing that's kind of been on my mind, and that's been wireless charging. I think it'd be really nice to have wireless charging. Just kind of one of those kind of creature comforts that would be super neat to be able to not have to deal with all those things. So let's see about a wireless charger or something of the sort. So let's see. Charges items in nearby player inventory, has a small range but can be painted and hidden. Charges items in nearby inventories. Charges items in nearby inventories, has twice the range of the wireless charging antenna. And then doubles the range of the enhanced wireless in one direction. In one direction, though, see, this one to me seems like the better of the two. So why don't we look at doing Ender IO this time? Because I think we did the player interface method last time. We'll come back to this for filling up our inventories, but I also don't know that it has Baubles compatibility, because technically our power items are in our Baubles slots, which poses a slight issue. So the wireless charger is pretty trivial to make. We have made most of these things in the past. But you know, actually thinking about it, there is one other thing that would make this super easy, and that's a wireless terminal. Alright, so I'm working on crafting up some of these things, and so we're working on a bunch of 1K cells so that I can make a bunch of 4K cells. So we're just kind of having a blast here. Okay, there we go. ME Security Terminal. Now the reason we need this guy is that we have to have this plugged in so that we can, as you can see, there's a slot over here for this said wireless terminal. So that's kind of the logic there. I'm hoping we still have all the stuff for this, but of course we don't. So we can work on this guy, which is going to be a bunch of these. I think we're okay though. Let's not use pure. Let's just use standard Certus because I have very much. Make our dense energy cell, and lastly we need this thing, which is the easiest of them all. We need a Fluix Pearl. So Fluix Pearl, we will need a quartz fiber, and we should be good with a wireless receiver, and we should be good with a wireless terminal, which should quickly fill up with AE, and we can now link this to our network. Now, the other thing that we need that I just remembered is a wireless... Oh, here we go. Wireless access point. Okay, this isn't bad at all. So, that's going to give us a wireless access point. We can make a few of these if we want to. But there is something we're going to want to go with that. And we're also kind of in a tricky situation here because we can put this anywhere, but that matters, right? So, range extender... What? Oh. Oh, it's called a booster, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. Wireless booster is... Oh, that's like ridiculously straightforward. The thing is I don't remember what the max is. So we will simply make up our ender dust. Let's grab those. And so now let's give this a try. So we have everything synced up here. There's not really a good place that I'd like to have the access point. Because we don't really need it at home. I would say what we need is we need it here. And there we go. Devices online. 38.6. I wonder what the maximum is here. But now we can access our items with a 38 block range. That's actually surprisingly far. Of course, there is no crafting interface, but that's okay. And that's... I am curious what the maximum for that is, but fortunately now we can make these really easily. Let's see, 16 gives us a range of 80. It's using 40 RF per tick, but we're not worried about power anymore. And so at 80 blocks, we should be able to work from over here even. How far is 80 blocks? So it's about here. That's pretty nice. I can't complain. So, one wireless thing out of the way, another one is left to be made. So, the reason I made that is because we're going to need to run around here and use a lot of our machines and stuff, and it's going to be kind of a pain to go back and forth. And I don't have a terminal in here for no particular reason. It's just didn't really feel like the place to put one. But yeah, I'm going to need a few things, so I figured instead of running back and forth, it'd be quicker, or rather more convenient to make this, especially for the long term. So what we want to look into is the wireless charger, which is electrical steel. So we'll come over here to the slice and splice with an axe. That's going to give us a wireless charger. Again, the wireless charger is also going to have range, but I feel like the wireless charger should go over here. That just makes more sense to me. So we're going to put it right here, next to this guy. That is the range, though. That's what that thing was doing. Cool. I mean, that's a decent range, but we can extend that, and I would like to, so why don't we? So the enhanced is going to require these enhanced machine chassis. These are kind of insane to make. We're going to need another ender resonator. That was not difficult to make. Of all the things in this recipe, we're going to need 4 of these assemblies, and we can just make these. Let's go over to the house, hop down. I'm also coming to the realization that maybe we don't want that there, because I don't know how this antenna is supposed to work. Okay, so I've made a fundamental misunderstanding. This is the charger. It's not an add-on or a range extension to the wireless charger. This is the charger. So as a matter of fact, you don't even have to... And that's actually draining really fast. That's slightly concerning. Although these are much better flux ducts than I have over at the place, so that could be part of the problem. But yeah, so that was my misunderstanding, is that I was trying to charge it on top when really what it needed was to be its own charging thing. So for example, if I come over here and turn this on now, turn on the visualization, you'll see all the way out here still, even in this very far corner, I am receiving power. So that's what it was. It was completely my misunderstanding. I thought I knew how that worked. So this item is now done. I didn't really have wireless inventory access as an item, but I probably should have. So I was thinking there's actually a couple of things that I might still want to do before we call it an episode. So one of those things is I forgot there is an item in RF Tools, and I believe it is the Matter Charge Porter. There we go. So we want to make a charge porter. These are pretty straightforward to make, and these are going to allow us to have an item form of teleportation that will teleport us to our Matter receiver here from anywhere. So we'll go and make this. It's not that difficult of a recipe. In fact, that's pretty much it. And there you go. So now we've got it, and we can shift right click it down here, and we can actually right click to see a list of all the dimensions that we may want to access or set it to. So for example, if I'm just out and about, let's say I'm over here, and just really want to quickly hop home, just right click and I'm there. So another thing that I want to do is we're kind of low on uranium. It's not one of those things that we need a lot of, but I do want to finish up the last few cloches that we haven't quite made yet in the Twilight Forest. So to do that, we're just going to quickly make a few cloches. You guys have already seen that, so I'm not even going to bother showing that process on camera. And then we're going to go ahead and make up those seeds, which I'll probably turn into like a quick cut back and forth. Okay, so we have all the seeds that I've been wanting. The ones that were really most important then that were left were black quartz, aluminum, zinc, sulfur, and silicon, and saltpeter. What this means, though, is that we need to ensure that our system is ready for that storage-wise. We want to make sure that we have void drawers available for those. Otherwise, we're going to run into some serious problems. So I have no clue where to put this because this room is getting pretty swamped and we have 6 of these that we need to place down. I mean, we technically have the room to shove them in here somewhere. So yeah, what we could do is we could add an extra floor to this. That wouldn't be terribly difficult. Okay, so now we're kind of at a critical design point, so I figured I would chime back in. So we want to make sure a few things. I'm starting to put down capacitors. I've made one for each level now, so this will be a little easier to work with. But I need to kind of get this up and running. So this is going to be an output, input, input, and output. So the way this is going to work is we'll have wire connectors here and here, and then we will eventually set up, like, for example, this will have a relay coming across it. But then what will happen is this is going to get filled up because we're going to put that right in the middle. I've left myself a little working room here because obviously we're going to need space underneath to do different things. So I didn't want to kind of cram myself in a corner. It didn't really make any sense to do it that way. So we will have our 6 garden cloches. I don't know where the 7th one came from. That's got me really concerned now. Oh wait, yeah, no, I actually crafted the 7th one. That's right. I kind of forgot about that. Beforehand, I already had enough stuff to make a 7th one, but I made a 6th anyway. We'll go ahead and set it up. I just won't have anything inside of it yet. So just like the other floor, we will need to kind of handle a couple of things on our own. So the other kind of problem with this design is that we do not have any easy ability to take this into these other connectors. We don't really have a good way of translating these blocks into the relay, so we kind of have to deal with maybe something like this, or I don't know. We're kind of stuck here. So I'm hoping this will work, but it may very well not. And if it doesn't, then I don't know what to do. So we'll go from here to here. Can I reach here? And yes, but I can't reach here, can I? Oh, I totally can. Okay, so that has all of those back up and powered, which was an unexpected but very nice kind of side effect there. Did not expect this to work, but it absolutely does, and it looks really good this way. Okay, so we have to kind of repeat the same thing, but up here, which is also pending the roof. So why don't we get the roof put on, and then we'll come back and see what we can do next. Alright, so we're getting just about there. I've left an extra one in case we need one last one here. But we should now have water to all of these. And we now have almost everything we need. So our next step, and I'm actually coming to realize that this aqueous accumulator placement is sub-ideal, because I just remembered that I will have to have a crafter here in the floor. So let's go and get our item ducts all set up. Because needless to say, we will have to figure out how to get that into a ender chest as well, which I need to go make. So, since I've done most of this already, I'm probably going to finish it off camera, but I did want to at least show you guys kind of what my plan was for this. And kind of explain what next crops I wanted to make and why. And you already kind of know how. At least you definitely should. If you don't, then shame on you. But so you can see this is basically the setup that I've made for myself. I maybe should move this to a corner, I'm thinking. Instead of having this here, have it here instead. We will have water coming out of the top. We will have water everywhere. Okay, so we will store our water items here. We'll do this for now, and then here. That will eventually obviously be an item duct. So our other water needs to go here for that to be at full efficiency. Let's make sure I get all the water picked up. Looks like it's all picked up. So we should be good to go here. I'm going to go ahead and get all the crafting recipes set up for each one of these things. Because as you know, this is kind of a tedious process. So not to worry though, this is going to end up very nicely for us. So I'm going to go and get it done. But in the meantime, let me really quickly show you how this turned out. So there's not really official access to the top yet. And this isn't my prettiest build by far. I need to work on this quite a bit, which I may do in between videos. But this is what we've got for now. Not glorious, not really convenient, but it's a good utility. So again, I will probably go through and re-optimize this at some point in a much prettier format. So until then, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Later.